which is not bad for me, what happened, because I can do what I want. I'm a civilian. But he got arrested, the CO. At first I felt bad for him, but then I said, you know what? He's stupid to put himself in this position. So, are you there, honey?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so now everything's all right. My husband gets shipped out, you know, for security purposes, they said. He goes to Comstock, all right? This guy, Benny, goes to Shawanka, which is still close to the city, because he gave us up, all right? In the meantime...
Because he gave what?
He gave us up. He told, well, he told the officials what we were doing. So he gave us up so that he can get brownie points, and it looks good for him when he goes before the parole board.
So he double-crossed you?
Oh yeah, big time. So now I go to visit my husband a couple of times up there, maybe 2 weekends in a row, 3 weekends in a row. All of a sudden, my husband sends me a letter. Glenn, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard a click. Sends me a letter with a letter from the facility that he's at, from the superintendent, that because there's an ongoing investigation, that I bribed the CO, that I bribed him, and that my visitation privileges have been revoked indefinitely. So now I can't go see my husband. They twisted the whole thing. We brought toys up. They're trying to say I bribed the CO. I handed him, because there was money exchange, I'm bribing the CO. Now, I called Henry Huzar. He forget it. He went crazy. He said, Lori, those are very serious charges. He said, how could they say that? I can't believe that they even put that in there. He says, where's the bribe? So now I want to take this to court, Glennie. I want to, I want them on the stand and everything. I'm going all the way with this.
I see.
How do you feel about it, from what I told you?
Oh, terrible. It's awful.
I mean, you see what they're doing. In the meantime, the IG, Glennie, when he had me, they took us to the police station for 3 hours and questioned us.
What's an IG?
Inspector General from the Department of Corrections.
What is it?
Inspector General.
Oh, from the Department of
Corrections. When he saw me, the chief IG, you know what he said to me?
No.
He pointed to me, he says, we want you off the air.
That's, wait a second. That's First Amendment
retaliation. Oh, you better believe it.
Listen.
Yeah.
That's First Amendment retaliation.
Oh, yeah. This is what's happening. And by separating me from my husband, they know that my husband's feeding me all the information, what's going on in there. So that's why they use this bribery to separate me from my husband. Not only that, they blocked all my phone lines in the Department of Correction. I have no contact with my husband, other than I drive Pat up. I drove 4.5 hours yesterday, Glennie, and 4.5 hours back, so that Pat could see my husband. I didn't even go to see my husband.
Oh, my goodness.
You have no idea what they're doing to me.
Now, what about blocking your phone line?
They blocked the phone line because
What phone lines?
All my phones in the house. My husband.
Well, how come I'm talking to you now?
No. For FCI through from the correctional facility.
What?
The correctional facility blocked only those calls, so that my husband can't call. Because they have to go through FCI. It's a special phone line that they have to go through.
Oh, your husband can't call you.
Right. I mean, I can get calls and make calls. It's not my phone. It's only from the facility. So this is a very, very vindictive move that I want to expose them for. My husband told me, tell Glendora, get it on her show. You know, you're on up in Middletown.
Yes, I know that, and I did it.
Okay. I know you did. Did you get my message?
Yes.
I spoke to Jack.
Yes, I got your message.
Okay. Because he said to try to...
I got your message.
Okay.
Well, what's the name of this Inspector General?
I don't know his name.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't know his name. I'm going to get it.
Well, you had to identify himself.
I think it's Dalton. B. Dalton. D-A-L-T-O-N. But they were like, all of them were throwing questions at us left and right.
What is the name of the corrections officer?
The correctional officer that got arrested, his last name is Boswell. B-O-Z, as in zebra, W-E-L-L.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah. You have to attack Commissioner Goord, G-O-O-R-D. He's the commissioner of the Department of Corrections.
Now, did you need the names and telephone numbers of the state representatives?
Oh, no, I already have them. I already faxed it all over to Carl. He's faxing the whole story all over the place to have everybody call.
Mm-hmm.
I want to flood the offices of the senators, Trunzo.
All right, what do you... Trunzo?
Senator Trunzo, Bobby Wirtz, the assemblyman, Hillary Clinton, Charles Schumer. I had everybody call them. The Department of Corrections, Goord, and the superintendent over at Great Meadows, where my husband is. Because this came from them, the visitation, the block-in visitation. The letter came from them. Can you believe they tried to say that I bribed?
No, I don't. No, it doesn't follow. It's non sequitur.
Where does what could they possibly say and I bribed them for, Glenn? I can't. It doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't. It's a lie.
So, do you agree that I'm taking them to court?
Oh yes.
All right, because I want them on the stands and everything. Then I'm gonna sue them for slander, defamation of character, emotional stress, for separating me from my husband.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going for them. This is what I've been waiting for, something like this. I want to see them in court. I want my day.
Okay.
So if you could put that on the air, honey, I'd really, really appreciate it. Blast them good.
Okay.
I wish you had a fax machine. I could fax over the letter that they sent.
Well,
if you want, I'll just send you a copy.
Yes.
All right? And
yeah.
then,
Box 69.
I'm sorry?
Box 69.
Right. Hopewell.
Yes. 12533.
So this is what I'm going through. I'm all right now, but I was a basket case last week, not being able to see him, you know,
yes,
and what they're doing. Let's face it, Glenn, if I bribed the CEO, wouldn't you think that they would have arrested me?
Yes.
That's what Henry said. Why didn't they arrest you?
Yes.
Because they have nothing on me.
Why did they let you go after the questioning?
Yeah. They even said you didn't do anything wrong. We can't hold you.
Well, I don't think that the CEO did anything wrong either.
No, because he was off state property. He's allowed to sell anybody. They can have a side business or whatever. The whole thing is in the directive it says that they're not allowed to fraternize at all with the inmate or the visitor.
Oh.
So, the correctional officers.
Oh.
So, they probably have them there. Not that it's right, but that's what they, you know. Now, I don't know what the CO told the IG to protect himself, to get himself out of hot water. This might be his story. I don't know. That's all I know is I want to take it to court.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're right.
Yeah, and I want to get them on the stand.
You're right.
Because in the letter it states that I have the right to a hearing. In 30 days I have to answer the letter. I have a right to a hearing. My husband says, get out of their ballpark. Take it to court. And the mere fact that he said he attacked my program, Glennie, and because I'm on in other states, my husband said I might have the right to go federal with this.
Well, I think you have it's all federal. It's all civil rights.
Right.
It's First Amendment retaliation.
Yeah.
That's a federal offense, and they are state actors.
Now the whole thing is how do I prove that he said that? I could say Pat. I could have Pat as a witness. Pat was right there.
You understand? They're state actors.
Right.
They work for a government. You can't sue anybody for First Amendment unless they work for a government.
Right. Great.
And they
so
work.
I can then.
They work for the state government.
Okay. You know your law, Glennie. So this is what I'm going through, honey, in the middle of trying to work, in the middle of trying to do the program, doing everything else, running around. I went to the meeting called Americans for Legal Reform. It was wonderful.
And you videotaped it.
Yeah.
It's going on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going on TV.
Good.
A lot of good stuff came out. A lot of good stuff. There were attorneys that got up. A woman that's running for a judge for the second time, they're after her because she's for truth and for the people. And, you you know Judge Ira Rabb?
Yes.
Okay, they are after him. I don't know if you spoke to Carl, because he was making calls to endorse a candidate, never used his name, never used his robe, never used his, his title, nothing. He just made calls for this guy, and they came against him, stating that that was illegal.
Who is they, honey?
Well, I guess the officials.
What officials?
I'm sorry?
What officials?
I'm not sure. I mean, Carl was telling the story that,
okay.
I guess the other judges or whoever's in charge of over the judges.
Folks, look at all that in there. All these legal papers and details that have to be done. They came in on March the 7th and March the 12th. All right. You saw one that was done. And now, this is IPRO. And what does this stand for? Do they ever tell you? That's bad. Experts in defining and improving the quality of health care. Well, they check up on the Medicare, the doctors who sign up to provide health service through Medicare and be paid through Medicare. And IPRO is a quality improvement organization authorized by the Medicare program to review medical services provided to Medicare patients in the state of New York. By law, we review Medicare cases to determine if the service meet medically accepted standards of care, are medically necessary, and are delivered in the most appropriate setting. This is our complaint. They were not medically necessary. None of it. The whole thing was a hoax. Franklin was kidnapped and all this stuff was done against his consent, against his will. We in receipt of your inquiry dated 2/21. Well, there's many more than 2/21. Please call IPRO's beneficiary hotline toll free. Our offices are open Monday through Friday and so forth. Thank you for taking your time to share your concerns. Well, Glendora says we did talk on the phone. You asked the questions that were already answered in my papers to you. We have given a plenary delineation of what these Escalapians did wrong, start to finish, alpha to omega. Yours in truth, Glendora and Franklin, Glendora Power of Attorney, March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. We'll send a copy of this to Brad Sachs. Now you understand that Lori Galgano is barred from visiting her husband up at Lake George facility, and that this is a violation and a terrible thing to do. And what God has put together, let no man put asunder. So she's right. She's going to sue them. So here are some jokes for you. A man came out of his friend's house and he's carrying a darling Cocker Spaniel puppy in his arms. He meets another friend and he says, "Hey Joe, what do you think of this Cocker Spaniel puppy I got for my wife?" And Joe said, "That's not a bad trade." Why are Bob and Joan the perfect couple? She's a hypochondriac and he's a pill. And the accountant was honored by the American Association of Accountants. He did such wonderful work, they're naming a loophole after him. And the accountant told his client, he says, "I'm not going to do any more work for you, I'm going to go to work for the state government." And his client says, "Oh, congratulations, what are you going to do?" And the accountant said, "Make license plates." Early to bed and early to rise is likely to make a person healthy, wealthy, and apt to get his own breakfast. Now there's nothing so simple that Cablevision cannot make it difficult. Live each day as if it were your last, and one day you will be right. A woman's work is never done, thanks to daytime television, and people never think alike. until it comes to wedding presents. Misers are no fun to live with, folks, but boy, do they make good ancestors. People do not die in spite of what you read in the newspapers. In spite of what you read in the newspapers, people do not die in alphabetical order. And here's some friendly advice. Never, at an auction, wave to a friend. Glendora, a chat with Glendora. Here's the news from Rockland County. Jim Lehman is the reporter. Haitian show loses Friday night time slot. This is an article in the Gannett paper. And what you people don't know about that show, first of all, it's too long. It takes up too much time. It's 2 hours. That's way too much time, okay, when public access producers are being put around here, there, and everywhere. 2 hours is too long to take up. And anyway, you should know this, that you have a statutory right to have your time slot the rest of your life. First come, first serve is what the law says. The law does not say first come, first serve every 13 weeks or every 26 weeks. Cablevision is breaking the law every time it does that, and you should sue them. You should sue them for violating federal, state, and municipal law. The law says first come, first serve. You were there in January, so you have that time slot the rest of your life. And Gannett, you should understand that, and you should report that. And you should dig deeper, more deeply, I should say. And you should get the facts and the law. But then Gannett never did do a good job reporting the news. They don't tell you what happened. They don't cover things. And then what they do tell you is superficial. This is a story from Gannett. Jim Lehman is the one who found out about Appel. Or Apple, I think it should be pronounced Apple. Jim Lehman found out about it by digging in the computer and talking to the U.S. attorney. The U.S. attorney, believe me, is just as wrong as Apple. The U.S. attorney cannot be trusted. This is interesting when Jim Lehman went up to what he calls the Kingdom of Pomona. Just a minute, I want to find this article on that. A visit to the Kingdom of Pomona. He thinks that it is a one-person rule, and or an oligarchy, and he went up there to cover a meeting, and he took pictures, and then the supervisor called the police on him because he was taking pictures. No charges were pressed, and this is the by the way, this is the Rockland Reporter. And here is an article in Gannett that tells about the Pomona mayor who calls the police on a reporter. I don't think that the Pomona mayor has a chance. I think that Jim Lehman can sue the Pomona mayor for violation of First Amendment. Jim Lehman's right to know, and Jim Lehman, and your right to know, the public's right to know. I think these are two First Amendment issues, and the Pomona mayor can be sued because he is a state actor. He's working for a government. And when the First Amendment has to apply to somebody who works for the government, Congress shall make no law. So it's all state actor. So we congratulate Rockland Reporter. We congratulate Jim Lehman. Jim Lehman should file his wonderful lawsuit that he has written against Cablevision and against the New Jersey Public Utilities Commission and against the New York State Public Service Commission and against the town governments who have violated the public's right to public access. He should complete that lawsuit, and he should get it filed, and he should take his stand on that and not run away from it. Jim Lehman, Rockland, Chat with Glendora. This is Glendora. I forgot to tell you, I paid the electric bill for 2 months, and it was $118. Is that a lot? Oh, this is a letter to Bill Cromer in Downsville. When he was a little boy, 11 and a half years old, he was on the SS Glendora TV show. And he's never forgotten the joy of that. And just lately, he's found me. How many years later? This was in 1956 or 7. He was on Glendora, the SS Glendora for General Electric in Albany, Schenectady, and Troy. Take note of that, you people in Albany, Schenectady, and Troy. And so this is the second letter he's written me, and I have answered it. And I sent the crazy Cablevision application, a senseless demand. I've sent it to Cecilia at Peekskill, Cablevision Peekskill, and Zeke Hunter. Thank you for putting up with their foolishness and signing those what? Nuisance papers. Zeke Hunter, Cross River, to Cecilia, Cablevision, Peekskill. And this is the 7th job done out of this pile of in-mail. I think there's 10 to go. Pet assistance. We sent these people $10. Can you send them something? This is their address. Non-profit. Okay? They help the doggies and the kitties. And here's the great Franklin Buell, the great newspaper reporter. Is that a good razor?
It's what? Yeah.
Is that a good razor?
Very good.
Now, about 12 plants have been cleared off of Desk 3 and taken out to the outdoors. And it's not as nice a day today as it was yesterday. Yesterday was perfect, 60 degrees and no wind. But today there's a little wind.
Okay.
Isn't it, Katie? And here's Franklin 3. And his rug is drying because he was overwatered. The MCI bill is paid is $69.98 with unlimited long distance, unlimited regional, including the local. There's no long distance charges. There's no toll charges. It's just a flat $69.98 every month. That's called an MCI Neighborhood Network. What's this tiger want? Tiger, what do you want? To eat again for the 6th time today? Now here's Verizon, and look at this unusual thing. Credit for overbilling. October 9th to 11, November 21st. They overbilled us. We didn't know any better. We paid it. $9.63. And the telephone, it comes out to $8.21 for that month. Isn't that terrific? But can you understand this? That the taxes, the taxes are $9.88 and the bill is $8.21. Oh boy, these taxes really mess up this world. Now the taxes on the MCI, they were $18. Can you imagine that? Out of $70, $18 was taxes. Have you folks seen the cat and dog stamps? Yeah, spay and neuter. Very important. Very important, Katie. You were lucky. You found a good home. And so was Penny. But think of those little doggies and kitties that did not. Why are you so lucky, Penny? Katie? What makes you so lucky? So this is what's left of the pile, folks. I think it's 8 to go, 7 or 8 to go. This is number 10 out of 16. It's from LTV in East Hampton, Amagansett, and Montauk, and it's from Patrice Jacobson, and she runs a good public access operation. Our dear producer, you are currently running a program on LTV Channel 20 Public Access for the town of East Hampton. This is just an update to let you know that your file is current and the time slot for your programs have not changed. If you have any questions at all, please call me at 631-537-2777, Monday through Friday from 10 to 6. Thank you for supporting public access television. Sincerely, Patrice Jacobson, Program Director. Well, you did a good job, Patrice. And Fraser, is it Fraser Doherty? I admire you, Fraser, for starting up this public access operation and keep it out of the hands of Cablevision. There's just one thing to do if you would, and that's to get rid of these renewals. They're totally illegal. The law is first come, first serve, period. Not first come, first serve 3 times a year. And even Cablevision's beat you now. They only do this twice a year. The idiots. But you do a good operation out there, and we're thankful and we're grateful. And we appreciate it. LTV, Amagansett, Montauk, and East Hampton. So hard to clean this razor. It's a Remington. Look at it, it's just filled with white powder. Franklin's whiskers have turned to powder. White powder. So where's this going, folks? Matter of justice. Senator Hatch. House Judiciary. Ralph Meekham, the so-called administrator of U.S. courts. What a misnomer. George McDermott. The Center for Judicial Accountability. Kathy Catterson, the clerk of the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, San Francisco. And Mary A. Schroeder, the chief judge of same. And what's it say? It says, this is a copy to Glendora of a letter to the clerk of the District Court, United States District Court in Las Vegas, from the United States Court of Appeals in San Francisco, Glendora versus Anderson. Wrong caption. 20th time you've been told you are hopeless, you will never learn. And it says they are sending you, the district court, a certified copy of the decree of the court, and that decree of the court is worthless. What an abysmal record you have made. And it says enclosures to all counsel. Glendora says list them. I don't think you sent it to anybody but Glendora. You were sued last month, Omnibus 14, and I think you are being sued this month, Omnibus 15. Yours in truth, Glendora, March the 18th. They wrote that it was legal mail, and I added a couple of letters to that. And you know where it went. Okay, 9/7. just had 1, 2, 3, 4 left, but 12 was a big one. 12 was a full-blown legal paper, and it's in process now. It's been written, and what it is an en banc petition for re-argument to scrap the lousy decision of the lousy judges, one of whom is Rudolph, County of Westchester, in the Supreme Court, State of New York, appellate term, on the matter of Glendora versus Godfrey South and his son Mark South, who stole $400 of our security deposit. And now we've got landlord influence judges who stand up for landlords not returning security deposits. This is a movement across this land that we have to stop. Landlords just do not return security deposits. They're greedy anyhow, and they're crooked. So this is a stand against them. And I'm sending them this petition for pre-argument en banc. And if this doesn't work, I'll take it to the New York State Court of Appeals, Judith K. And in the meantime, I'll sue them in the United States District Court, Baltimore, Maryland. I'll read you the paper in just a while. It's being printed, and then the envelopes had to be made, and they have to be stuffed, and the hours and dollars, and the opus number. I think it's 954. Legal paper opus. So, here is the appellate term of the Supreme Court of the State of New York for the 9th and 10th Judicial Districts, held in Westchester County on February 6, 2003. And that's a lie. These judges are all over the place, all over Long Island and all over Westchester. They didn't get together. This was all done by the clerk in Brooklyn. And they say February 6, 2003. January 7, 2003 term. And the case number is 737, Westchester County. The so-called judges are Robert W. Doyle, presiding justice, Robert A. Lifton, Kenneth W. Rudolph, J.J. Now, what does J.J. mean? I think of a few things, but I'll withhold that. Glendora Franklin appellant against Godfrey S. South and Mark South, a bad landlord and his son, defendants or respondents. They're actually appellees. Glendora is a plaintiff appellant. They are the defendants appellees. The above named appellant having appealed in this court from a judgment of the City Court of Rye, Westchester County, entered on November 5th, 2001, and the said appeal having been submitted by appellant in person, and no brief submitted for the respondents, and due deliberation having been had thereon, it is hereby ordered and adjudged that the judgment is unanimously affirmed without cause. This is to Glendora, Box 416, White Plains, New York, and to Godfrey S. South and Mark South, 121 Claremont Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, 10550. It'll be 2 years this June 30th, that all this happened. Look at this in the court. Mary A. Sunshine or Nancy T. Sunshine, Chief Clerk, appellate term. Okay, now we're going to take this apart, but are we ever? And it says, appeal by plaintiffs on the ground of inadequacy from a small claims judgment of the Rye City Court, Westchester County, Peter Lane, entered November 5th, 2001, awarding her the principal sum of $895.06. Judgment unanimously affirmed without cause. Upon a review of the record, we find that the determination of the court below clearly would have been reached under a fair interpretation of the evidence. See? And now they're going to quote a phony case which has no meaning at all, no weight. Northern Westchester Professional Park Association versus Town of Bedford. Constantly we find that substantial justice has been done between the parties according to the rules and principles of substantive law. See Uniform City Court Act 1807. All right, are you ready? Okay, blow their heads off. Petition by Glendora en banc for suspension of unsigned paper of February 6 for another oral argument with proper notice to Glendora that Rudolph recused, that judges sign affidavits that they are or are not landlords, that Glendora get substantial justice, Unified City Court Act, Section 1807, inter alia. Okay, that's the cover page. Page 3. The paper is a nullity. It is not signed by a judge. It is not signed by 3 judges. This is an appellate court. It has to have 3 judges. The paper is bogus. The paper is void. The paper is laden with errors. The paper is laden with abuse of discretion. Glendora plaintiff appellant was robbed of her oral argument. The court failed to get notice of oral argument to her timely. The oral argument was scheduled for January the 7th, 2002, the card said. That was last year. The card should have said January 7th, 2003. Glendora received the court's postcard on the afternoon of January the 7th, 2003. The oral argument already had been done in the morning. Oh boy. Can you imagine a court doing that? Well, they did it. And it's not the first time. Now we go over to page 2. Rudolph, de facto, should have recused. Glendora sued him in the United States Court, District of Columbia, 4 years ago. New York State judges are mandated to list the papers they read. These 3 judges did not. They did not read any of Glendora's papers. She was the only litigant to submit papers to the appeals court. Appellees did not submit a brief. Appellant South let the allowed time to submit an appellant's brief go by. They did not oppose timely. And appellants cannot appear at oral argument unless they file a brief. These judges let South appear at oral argument regardless. This was illegal, unfair, and stupid. Here this so-called court robbed Glendora right to appear at oral argument. And she had filed a brief. And then they let appellants who have not filed a brief appear, and the instructions state clearly that the brief, no oral argument. As if this were just not enough violation of Glendora's due process, the panel of 3 judges on January 7, 2003 let South file a brief by January 21st, 2003 and give Glendora 1 week to reply. Now this is double jeopardy. The 16th transgression by this so-called court is that the court never notified Glendora of 14 super, and Glendora knew nothing about it. Out of the clear blue, 6 months tardy, Glendora gets a brief from South. The South brief is heterotaxis. It is out of bounds. It is ultra vires. The lower court stipulated 3 areas. The trial would be limited to 3 areas. South went all over the place, arguing lasciviously. Preclusions. South's appellee's brief arrived at the court January the 22nd. One day late, it was returned to him. At least his court did something right, and truly. South's brief was returned to him. Glendora did not have to reply. Note that Glendora was robbed of her right to oppose whatever the South may have said at oral argument January 7, 2003, when he didn't even have a right to be there. So the court erred promiscuously. Page 7, abuse of discretion. Said appeal was not submitted by appellant in person. Where did they get that? Due deliberation was not had. There is no evidence of due deliberation. They give no factual basis. They give no legal basis. This is mere dictum. Glendora did not receive substantial justice in either court. The court fails to address appellant by designated name Glendora. On grounds of inadequacy is nearly meaningless. Glendora carefully enumerated and delineated everything that was wrong with Peter Lane's order. The claims are pushed aside. The panel gives no argument nor proof that the determination of the court below clearly could have been reached under a fair interpretation of the evidence. They state no law, they state no facts. It is dictum. They give a cite. This is not law. Judges do not make law. The state legislators make law. As many cons as pros can be found. Conclusory. This is not a judging. This is there consequently is non sequitur. Glendora pointed out cogently and abundantly she did not get substantial justice from Peter Lane. She pointed this out verbatim by Unified City Court Act 1807 et sequitur. These judges, quote unquote, do not argue or prove what they toss out so recklessly. This is a poor excuse for court. Glendora is not going to appeal this rot to the second department. The second department long ago racked up a record of being inept, dishonest, cheating, and dysfunctional. Either she will take it to the New York State Court of Appeals, Judith K., or to the United States District Court, Baltimore. Since the issues are constitutional, she can go to both. What you read here has been read on TV, voila. Glendora, and this is Penny, who just blacked us out, is on 37 cable TV systems, New Mexico, Oregon, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. Paragraph 47 is reserved, and here are the relief demanded. Here is the relief demanded. Plaintiff appellant demands that the papers of February 6, 2003, not received by Glendora until March 6, 2003, be suspended. that an oral argument be rescheduled within 1 month, that Glendora be given 3 weeks' notice of same at her correct address, that her paper herein be read and adjudged en banc, that all judges write an affidavit that they are not or are landlords, that they made the decisions themselves and uninfluenced by non-litigants, that they read all the papers, that they are fully aware of the facts and circumstances. Of course they are not, because they didn't do their homework. They didn't read the pages. That Glendora be granted the circa $400 robbed her by Peter Lane, together with interest. That in truth Glendora be adjudicated substantial justice, together with the costs of this action, and any further relief just and proper, dated March the 18th, 2003, under penalty of perjury. Glendora has told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and always has, so help her God. Peter Lane and defendants appellees have not, nor has the appellate term. Yours in truth, Glendora. Here it is, the Esculapian cheaters, the medico cheaters. Vassar Hospital, Hudson Valley Urology, Hudson Valley Radiology, Critical Care Group, Sloper Willem, or whatever, ambulance, their collection agencies, RevGrow, CBHV, now this isn't being sued. Being sued is also going on in Omnibus 15. But this is their billing of March and our protest to it. I'll read that to you shortly. These have to be sealed. Look at the postage and the printing. This thing costs about $20 to print and post, and it took 4 hours. Here they are. Oh, 16 sets, 20 pages, 83 cents to mail each one. I've been up since 2:30 a.m. doing this. It's time to go back to bed. March the 19th, 2003, Anno Domini. 2. The Esculapian Cheaters. This is our 7th letter to you. We incorporate all statements from our previous 6 letters as if fully stated herein. You cannot read. You are fugitives. You run away. Your autism exacerbates the situation. You do not answer the charges. You are all being sued this month. It is now being written. That's Omnibus 15, folks. You are being investigated by IPRO. That's an agency that checks the quality of services of people whom Medicare pays. Contact Brad R. Sachs, Esquire, 99 Court Street, White Plains, New York, 106. 01914-761-6552. Our lawyer friend, yours in truth, Glendora. Copies to all listed on the service sheet. Franklin also signed this en masse. Received by Franklin on Glendora, March the 12th, 03. Memo endorsed by Franklin and Glendora. Power of attorney, March the 19th, 2603. Hudson Valley Critical Care. Poughkeepsie, Franklin Buell. Your account something unpaid, and it's signed Kara, what, P-A-L-R, Paul. Okay, Glendora says, 1, you people do not know how to read. 2, 6 plenary letters have been served on you people, and you go fugitive. You do not deal with the issues: kidnapping, coercion, no consent, defeat, and malpractice. You, quote, please be advised that you are being sued this month for fraud and hoax. You, quote, please be advised, unquote, that you have been turned over to IPRO and the investigation has commenced. Your autism is not a solution to anything. You already have turned your cheater, Esculapian charges over to an odious collection agency, Yours in Truth, Glendora. And this is, stay away from these people. Again, it's Hudson Valley Critical Care. Received 312, memo endorsed 319 as letter number 7 to you. This is your final notice that you are being sued this month for Esculapian cheating, for medical fraud, incompetence, and malpractice. You can't read. Your autism is no solution. You are being fugitives. Yours in Truth, Glendora, power of attorney. Final notice. Received March the 6th, memo endorsed March the 19th. Learn to read. Now, who is this? This is their collection agency called NCO Financial Systems Incorporated, so we'll sue them too. Learn to read. Learn to answer the charges. You are being sued this month. Franklin was kidnapped and coerced. While he was captive, his lung was punctured, extending his incarceration 8 days. Incarceration being a funny word to use for a hospital. Send your bills to Philbin, Scaduto, Gargulio, Slope, Yours in Truth, Glendora. The Revenue Maximization Group Incorporated, and that's just a euphemism for Dunning. See letters number 7 attached here too. See letter number 7 attached here too. And that's their envelope. And that's a duplication of what they said in their different envelope. And this is Hudson Valley Radiologist in Poughkeepsie. Stay away from them. Received on March the 3rd, March 6th, March 6th, and March 12th. They sent 3 of them. Memo endorsed on March 19th. You are past due. Responding to our claims against you, you are being sued this month. You also. You are fugitives. You do not just a minute, folks. How to read. Your autism is no solution. You have been caught. You did not explain the charges. You had no consent. It is an Esculapian greed. You make an industry out of sick people. You attack them when they are weak and vulnerable. Franklin signed nothing. Our letter number 7 to you. Franklin signed nothing with you. Yours in truth, Glendora. X-rays are bad for your health. You ask Glendora to leave the room. Your big money-making toys are lethal. And see all of the X-rays they took? That's enough to kill 15 people. Look at that. This is nothing but greed. Here's the second page of them. And here's the third page of them. Now, a week later, these people sent the same 3 pages. This is improper dunning. Now, here's the service list, folks. The critical care unit, Poughkeepsie, New York, the head honcho of Vassar Brothers Hospital, the owner of Slope Ambulance, the head honcho of Empire Medical Services in Peekskill, Subhash Kolkari and Hopeless Medical in Route 356 in Hopewell, the Center for Judicial Accountability, Glendora TV audience, Who to Sue, the Hudson Valley Urology, 1 Columbia Street, Poughkeepsie, Beneficiary Outreach Department, CMS, 1979, Marcus Avenue, Lakeview, Lake Success, New York, 11042. NCO Financial Systems, Garden City, Empire Medicare Services in Syracuse, CBHV Collection Agency in Newburgh, Brad R. Sachs, the Inns of Court, 99 Court Street, White Plains, Hudson Valley Radiologist, 1 Columbia Street, Poughkeepsie, Revgrow, Garden City, New York. And final page. I agree with everything Glendora has written herein. Our letter number 7, Franklin F. Buell, March the 19th, 03.
Your call from police and report, that was terrific. The Gannett paper covered that.
This is Jim Lehman in Rockland County. Pomona.
So they claim that they sent away all these ballots that they expect. And they put the guy over the head of the incumbent. Marshall? Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
Pomona, Rockland County.
He's awful. You know, he can be sued for what he did. Right. What he did to you, you know. I mean, that's a double First Amendment. First of all, it's double First Amendment because it infringes on your free speech, but it also infringes upon the public's First Amendment right to know. And so he could be sued, and he's also a state actor. So he could be sued under 42 U.S. Code 1983 and 1985. Right.
Okay, this is Rockland County Gannett newspapers, which, as you know, are no good. And I'm calling this man here Karam Saeed.
This is Glendora, 914-949-9495. I, of course, am opposed to 2-hour Haitian shows, and there's too many of them up there in Rockland, and it has injured me greatly. I am in the process of suing Cablevision for this, what they did the last quarter, and what they did on February the 11th. The chat with Glendora now is on at 8:30 a.m. opposite the Today Show on Tuesdays. It should be at its original spot at 9:30 p.m. On Tuesdays, where Glendora has been since 1995. And it's another case, and that's what Dan Ciccone's getting sued for. And I'm going after his house, his car, and everything else he owns, and Cablevision too, including Charles Dawn. That is an out-and-out violation of a public access right mandated by Congress, state legislature, Public Service Commission of the state of New York, and the municipality that signed the contract, the franchise, with this screwball company, Cablevision. And I'm suing them again in the United States District Court. 914-949-9495. Get to the bottom of it.
You want to see how nifty this little recorder is? Now watch, I'm going to erase that. Watch it. Watch the figures. See? It's gone. Just like that. I have to report this to you folks on TV. Fraud victim. TA. Victims United Against Fraud and Unjust Treatment in the Courts. George E. McDermott, President. Here's his website. Is his address and his telephone numbers. Your individual groups have all expressed in common the goal promoting the view of equal justice under the law in our nation's courts, and that it must apply to all of our citizens. Therefore, I'm sending this package to you as a glaring red flag that injustice in our courts can no longer be ignored. Indeed, 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 indeed. Now, he's taking up the case of Dr. Elizabeth Pollock, who has been ordered not to enter the clerk's office in the Maryland federal courts. However, on another report to me, he demonstrated that that was fraud, because nobody could find any such order signed by a judge. However, the Gestapo Pinkertons are giving Elizabeth a hard time about going to the courts, and she's scared to death to go to one. And as you know, with the way the U.S. Attorney operates and the U.S. Marshals operate, and the who is it? The FBI, the way they all operate. You don't have to do anything wrong to get arrested. Okay? They'll just lie. They'll just lie and make up a charge and arrest you. Here, an audio tape, a conversation with George McDermott. George McDermott, recent Republican candidate for clerk of Prince George's County Circuit Court, barred without due process from entry into Maryland federal courts for asking court staff questions. See that? They don't want you to ask questions. First of all, they don't have the answers, and they have to lie and cover up the bad things that they've done. So he had a press conference, as I told you, and as he told you, on the outside of the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. Well, folks, I think you'd be interested in this. Justice Joseph Mercy, Chief Judge, Maryland Court of Special Appeals, Court of Appeals Building, Annapolis, Maryland. I am once again, this is from George McDermott, I am once again contacting your office to report fraud and the unauthorized use of your name in court, your name on court seal by parties operating within the clerk's office of your court. This is a matter of recorded fact which can be verified by the court's own docket and pleadings docket on February the 7th, 2003. Mr. Justice, I personally reviewed and numbered every document in the official file jacket of my case file as it was presented to me on February 7th, and the following items were nowhere to be found in the official case file jacket. 1. A signed order from your office directing the clerks to enter the judgment against me. Now this is a serious judgment. They're going after his house. They've got liens on his house. This is serious. 2. Nowhere to be found was the alleged original signed order denying relief requested. Nowhere to be found were the 2 appellant briefs filed in support of motion for relief. Nowhere to be found were the 2